Raider Nation, what's going on? You're watching the Raiders Report, brought to you by BetDSI, and I'm your host, Mitchell Renz. Please follow me on Twitter, at MitchellRenz365 for the latest Raiders rumors, news, Raider Nation rumors, and anything around the Oakland Raiders in general. And also make sure you guys subscribe on YouTube to YouTube.com/Raiders Report. As you can tell, I've had a few off days. Again, subscribe, YouTube.com/Raiders Report. I don't know if you know this, but the Oakland Raiders 2019 opponents, it's been released. Now, the schedule's not out yet, but at least the 2019 opponents have been released. But before I get into the 2019 opponents, I want you guys to look at just some of the things that are going on entering the season. The Raiders have the number 4 pick in the NFL draft. Mike Mayock is the new Raiders GM. So there's a lot of moving parts going on right now with the Raiders, and I think it's exciting. They have 6 of the top 95 picks. There's a lot of picks in the top 95 going to the Oakland Raiders, and they got an NFL draft expert in Mike Mayock. I like what the Raiders are doing. I think that what the Raiders have going on for them right now is really exciting. And despite being 4-12, the Raiders have a lot of good things going for them. And when you're looking at all those picks, especially 3 picks in the first round, guys, I'm telling you right now, it's time to get excited. Let me get a sip of water. Hydration is key. All right, next one coming up here. The Raiders, they're going to play the AFC South and the NFC North. 2 tough divisions, right? So the AFC South, I would have said, is probably one of the weaker divisions at the beginning of the year. But the Houston Texans are in. The Colts are in. And the Titans, even though it was a horrible game on Monday night or Sunday Night Football, they still at least had a chance to make the playoffs. So AFC South is a pretty good division. And then NFC North. You can't count out the Vikings, even though they didn't make the playoffs. They're still a good team. It's really hard to count out Aaron Rodgers, ultimately. Like, the Packers are bad. Aaron Rodgers, though, you can't count him out. That's a really tough one for me. And then you're just looking at the Bears. The Bears are legit. The Lions, I'll never worry about the Lions as long as Matthew Stafford's the quarterback there. So, not really too crazy about that. But you're looking at the overall picks. They got a bunch of picks going on. They got, a bunch of money coming in, about $95 million in salary cap spaces, which I predict them to have, now that the offseason started. A lot of good things going on for the Raiders. A rough 2018. I get it. So, as I stated before, they're playing the NFC North, they're playing the AFC South, but the Raiders are in the AFC West. So, I'm kind of playing on here a little bit. What's the best division in the NFL? Is it the AFC East because of the Patriots? No, I'll tell you right now, it's not the AFC East. Is it the NFC North? Potentially. Is it the AFC South? I want to know from you, what's the best division in the NFL? If you want to know what I think, DM me on Twitter, at MitchellRenz365, and I'll let you know. So, if you're on Facebook, if you're on YouTube, let me know what's the best division in the NFL. Now, before I get into the Raiders' 2019 opponents, here's the Raiders' last 5 seasons. Not so good, right? In 2018, they were 4-12. In 2017, as I lean over, 6-10. 2016, 12-4. 2015, 7-9. And then 2014, they were 3-13. Here's the thing, though. 2016 is a winning season. I'm going to give anybody bonus points. And heck, I'll Venmo you $5. First person to do it. I'm feeling like in a giving away mood. First person to tell me the last time the Raiders had a winning season that wasn't 2016, DM me on Twitter, at MitchellRenz365, and I'll Venmo you $5. That's a great giveaway. It's honestly nothing, though, compared to the giveaway that BetDSI's got going on right now. And thanks to them, you guys can get those beautiful Raiders jackets. Heck, we got Derek Carr jerseys. We got custom kicks. And all you got to do is go to chatsports.com/bet. Sign up and deposit. When you sign up and deposit, use that promo code LIVE120 for 120% deposit bonus. All right, you're signed up, you deposited. Now what, Mitch? DM Chat Sports on Twitter, at Chat Sports. It's right below. DM us, at Chat Sports on Twitter, at Chat Sports. And if you're not already following us on Twitter, I don't know what you're doing. You might as well go ahead and do that. BetDSI, chatsports.com/bet. Use that promo code LIVE120 for that 120% deposit bonus. It's the best promo code on the internet. How many times do I have to say it? It's the best promo code on the internet. 120% deposit bonus. Put down 50, get 60 for free. Put down 100, get 120 for free. Put down 500, be a big baller, get 600 for free. Shout out to BetDSI for hooking us up with the best promo code on the internet. All right, Raiders, they got some home games, but before I get into their home opponents, where are they going to play in 2019, right? Like, that's still an actual question. And luckily, BetDSI hooked us up with their odds on where the Oakland Raiders are going to play in 2019. Maybe I shouldn't call them the Oakland Raiders anymore. Even though they do have the highest odds, according to BetDSI, sitting there at plus 120. And then we got San Diego at plus 250. Potentially could be playing in the Chargers stadium, or the Chargers old stadium, which I think would be pretty interesting. And you got Santa Clara at plus 400 odds, and then Phoenix at plus 500 odds. And when I originally wrote my top places where the Raiders could play, I said Levi Stadium was probably the most likely. But now it's starting to get mixed up a little bit. Phoenix, I've seen now flirted around there a little bit. They could be sharing that stadium with the Cardinals. And you look at the Seattle. I don't really see them sharing it with the Legion of Boom. Portland plus 1,500 odds. Memphis plus 2,000 odds. I probably wouldn't bet on any of those, just if I'm being honest with y'all. And then you're looking at Toronto. Toronto plus 3,000. No thanks. St. Louis, no, probably not going to go with that one either. London, though. I talked about on my Raiders Rumor show. The Raiders might actually play in London. Now, it's not going to be at Wembley, but they could actually play in London. If you want to see that report, just check out my end screen here once I get to the end of this video, and I'll just have that Raiders Rumor show ready to go for you. But at plus 5,000 odds, pretty interesting. And if you're not familiar what field means, because I've been asked a few times, it basically means any other city in the entire world not listed on the BetDSI odds. Make sense? Plus 500 odds. So, Raiders, where are they going to play? In 2019, it's going to be a question. It's going to be a rumor I'm going to talk about basically until they have to figure out where they're playing in February. So, if you're watching on Facebook, if you're watching on YouTube, if you're watching hell anywhere, I don't care. I want you to comment below on the video where are the Raiders going to play in 2019. If you want to know my honest opinion, I want you to DM me on Twitter at MitchellRenz365, and I'm going to let you know where the Raiders are going to play their games in 2019. All right. If you haven't DM'd me already, though, on Twitter, I don't know what you're doing. If you're not following me already, well, get on that as well. So where are the Raiders going to play in 2019? All right, the cities are out. So now here are the 2019 opponents for the Oakland Raiders and their home games, wherever the heck that's going to be. They're going to play the Chiefs, of course. They're going to play the Broncos at home. They're going to play the Chargers at home. But now they're also going to play the Jaguars at home, which I think is an interesting game. And the Chiefs is an interesting game because I think the Raiders played the Chiefs tough their first matchup at home. However, they didn't really play them all that tough in Week 17, and it's going to be a tough game. I mean, Patrick Mahomes is an elite quarterback. He threw 50 touchdowns, for goodness sakes. The Broncos, the Donkeys is really what I probably should have put on here. The Raiders should have won both games against the Broncos, and I think when you go back and look at the season, or when you look at the end of 2019, don't be surprised if the Raiders win both games against the Broncos. Like, they just fired Vance Joseph. They got a lot of moving parts going on over there. So I think the Raiders could actually win both games against the Broncos. Chargers are tough. Now, they are fifth in the AFC according to the playoff rankings, but they're 12-4. The Raiders at least kind of hung tough with them, but at the end of the day, from a talent standpoint, I just see the Raiders losing probably both those games to the Chargers. And then the Jags. It depends what Jags team we get. If the Jags go out, maybe get a Dwayne Haskins in the NFL draft, and they actually have a competent quarterback, that could be a tougher game. Like 2017 Jacksonville and 2018 Jacksonville, two totally different teams. However, I'm going to be positive on this episode. I think the Raiders are going to win against the Jags in their home matchup. Let's look at the other four home matchups now for the Raiders. You got the Tennessee Titans there. You got the Bears. You got the Lions and the Bengals. Or does that say the Bengals? Yeah, the Bengals. And when I'm looking at it, the Titans... All right, I'm not a Marcus Mariota believer. I think he's really overrated. And I think there's about time that we as an NFL community start pointing the finger at Marcus Mariota and be like, that guy's really not that good. He's not allowed to use his legs, and that cripples him because he's not good enough to be a pocket passer, in my opinion. They've done a lot to surround him with talent. He just can't get it going. Titans, though, they still have a pretty good defense, and they were 9-6. They're 9-7 now. They had a chance to make the playoffs. Do I think the Raiders can win that home game? It's going to be a tough one. Against the Bengals, if they hire Hugh Jackson, yeah, that's a win because they already fired Marvin Lewis. There's a lot of turnover there. I think the Raiders can beat the Bengals at home. The Bengals are just all sorts of messed up on defense, and yeah, Joe Mixon absolutely killed us this year, but I think that we can handle him this year. And then you got the Bears. It's probably going to be a loss. Like, as much as I'd love to say it, but Mitchell Trubisky and an up-and-coming quarterback, Jordan Howard, that defense, probably the best defense in the NFL, and I can't wait. And I'm kind of hoping the Raiders are in Oakland simply for this game because I just want to see how loud Oakland is and how loud Raider Nation is welcoming back Khalil Mack. That's going to be interesting. And then the Lions. I think the Raiders are going to beat that team because I just think the Lions are very good, especially with Matthew Stafford. So I think they're going to beat the Texans or at least be close, beat the Bengals, lose to the Bears, beat the Lions. I'm being productive here, being a little bit positive. I got something else positive for you. I got a holiday giveaway. And if you want one of these awesome Raiders jackets, you better listen up right now. Go to chatsports.com/bet. Use that promo code LIVE120 for 120% deposit bonus. Once you sign up and use our promo code LIVE120, I want you to DM us on Twitter at ChatSports. And we're going to also hook you up with one of those Raiders jackets. So, promo code LIVE120, chatsports.com/bet. Use the promo code LIVE120, 120% deposit bonus. And then DM us on Twitter. It's the Twitter hashtag, Twitter below at chatsports on Twitter. I'll promise I'll get it together. Happy New Year, right? I'm already in Happy New Year mode. All right, let's look at the away games now for the Oakland Raiders. And we got the Chiefs, you got the Broncos, you got the Chargers. No surprise there. I think the Broncos are the only team that we're going to be able to beat on the road in terms of our division. And then you got the Texans. I just think that's a really tough game in Houston. The Texans are 11-5 for a reason. They won the AFC South. Then you got the Colts, you got the Jets, you got the Packers, you got the Vikings. And again, the Colts playing a lot better football with Andrew Luck. That's going to be a tough one. The Packers, I'm not quite sure. It's hard to bet against Aaron Rodgers. I'm sorry, it's really hard to bet against Aaron Rodgers. And Minnesota, a much different team when they're playing inside that dome. I would say out of all those games on board, I think the only game that the Raiders are going to win on the road, ultimately, is going to be against the New York Jets. So, sorry, Raider Nation. If you're mad at me, whatever. Hit me up on Twitter. Yell at me in my DMs. I don't mind. All right, I give you the Raiders' opponents in their home games, their away games. So, how many games are the Raiders going to win in 2019? I want you to comment below if you're watching on Facebook. If you're watching on YouTube, comment below. And if you want to be an overachiever, tell me, heck, predict each score of the game. Go for it. I would love it. If you want to know how many games I think the Raiders are going to win in 2019, DM me on Twitter at MitchellRenz365. Now, I don't know how many games the Raiders are going to win in 2019, but there's one thing I can rely on in 2019. It's Mizzen+Main making me look good, and I'm going to be wearing some Mizzen+Main when I go out tonight for the New Year's. Go to www.comfortable.af to find out for yourself how amazing these shirts are. That's all the time I got for today on the Raiders Rumors Report, but I want everybody to have a happy New Year. Be safe, be smart, have a drink on me, and I'm going to be back later on in the week for more Raiders Rumors. So until then, go Raiders. Raider Nation, what's going on? Is this the #1 Raiders channel on YouTube? For Chucky Heads, believe it, baby. And if you haven't already, subscribe right here. I'm giving you Chucky Heads, news, rumors, Raider Nation rumors. And look at this, I'm making your life easier. Check out my next video. Thanks for watching, and go Raiders.